Dallas Graham, and I'm the fortunate guy that got to work with Nathan Glad in creating a book that then turned into this amazing thing that all these people made. I spearhead and run the Red Fred Project, which is the publishing organization and nonprofit that makes books with kids like Nathan possible. And what we're trying to do is find kids, I call it, who live in extraordinary circumstances. And that means they either may have a rare disease or a critical illness in their life, but they overcome amazing things. And with their brain and their heart and their lived experience, they dream up something really cool. And we put it into a children's book. And we publish it. And then we sell these books to people close and far. And then certain people, like the people here, think it should be turned into plays. So that's a little bit about me.
I'm Nathan Glad. I is the kid who wrote the book that the play is based off of, and it was really fun.
Hi, I'm Troy Deutch. I'm the playwright. I adapted Nathan and Dallas's book and turned it into the play Climbing with Tigers, and I'm so happy to see everyone and to be back with you again.
Hi, I'm Andra Harbold. I was lucky enough to direct Climbing with Tigers, and I feel like the Jolly Troop and Blue Lightning. Blue is part of my life, and being with these people is being with family. So I'm really glad to be back.
Hi, I'm Robert Scott Smith. I am co-founder of Flying Bobcat Theatrical Laboratory, which helped co-produce the production of Climbing with Tigers. I also had the privilege of playing the narrator and a couple other surprising characters within this beautiful story that came to us from Nathan and so beautifully translated and adapted by Troy. And starring the amazing Austin Archer alongside me. So for me, this is just a really great time to come back and reminisce about an amazing experience.
Hi, I'm Austin Archer, and I had the honor and the privilege of playing a little blackbird named Blue in Climbing with Tigers.
Dallas, can you tell us about this particular book in particular? Because it was the first book of your project. So tell us a little bit about that.
Happily, it was the first, and I still believe it was the perfect first. And Nathan was the perfect first storyteller that we engaged with. I found Nathan through an awesome organization in Salt Lake City called Angel's Hands Foundation, and they do incredible work supporting families who have children in these rare or extreme or extraordinary circumstances, and they just help make their lives better. And so my friend Steve, when I reached out to him, actually he wasn't even a friend yet, I just found him and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to find a really great kid who has a wonderful imagination, who would be interested in creating something with me, like a book. And I don't know, Steve, could you help me out? And Steve, in seconds, was like, oh, I know exactly who you need to talk to. His name's Nathan Glad. And I remember thinking like, wait, is Glad his last name, or is that just a cute, he's like, no, his name is Nathan Glad. And I'll just note this too. The very first night I met Nathan, he was bandaged and he had just broken his arm. I think that day, right, Nathan? I think it'd been just that day. And immediately everything just crystallized, just like Nathan can break really easily. And he even broke his arm the day I came to see him to work on the book for the very first time. And that sort of just the resonance and like his like going through pain. I remember asking him, I was like, is this painful? Is this hurt? And he was like, it's all good. It's okay. Can we get to the book? And, this attitude that Nathan had about, seeing through pain, seeing an idea through, even in the day, even in the moment, which a lot of that is like infused into his story all throughout, right? Just like seeing past something, seeing it through, going after something, especially if it's hurting or if it's a bit dangerous. I couldn't have asked for a more interesting guy, a more wonderful story, and then a cast of such wonderful characters that Nathan helped spearhead to start this whole thing. So that's a little bit about the beginning and how Nathan is always going to be our very first, very special boy.
All right, Nathan, it's your turn. So tell us a little bit about what the writing process was like back then.
Well, that first day we just started designing and looking at and making blue. And I chose a font. We took that font and turned it into a bird.
What advice might you give other kids who are interested in writing or putting their imagination into a storybook?
Just grab a pencil and paper and let your imagination run wild.
What do you think is the most important message from the book for you?
That, even though there are trials and dragons, sometimes they help us in the long run, and you just gotta keep going. That friends are there to help.
Troy, so if you could explain for our audience maybe a little bit about how you got involved in this process and your favorite moment to take from the page to the stage.
Sure. So I think as an adapter, basically I just had to take the storybook and that Nathan and Dallas wrote so beautifully and decide how can that best live on a stage, because it's such a different medium from holding a book to people in an audience watching a live performance. One of the most important things for me was taking the essence of the book and just blowing it up. So the themes of the book. But then it was, how do I make the audience feel like they went on a journey? So the most fun part was adding, I think, the element of time to the story, that it starts in the daylight and then they fly and they go on this adventure, and then it becomes night and the moon comes out, and then they fly until the next morning. That was my main job, just to try to, be true to the story, be true to Nathan's vision, and just find the best way to translate that, into an hour of material. Because it started with the book, and then it was given to me, and then it was given to the director and the designers and the actors, and then it's not completed until the audience is there. And then it all comes together in one moment to make a moment of magic in the theater. And if a cell phone goes off, the moment's ruined. But if everyone's leaning in and breathing together, it's just truly extraordinary. And those are the moments that, you never forget. And those are the moments that it makes me realize that theater will come back, and I'm very excited for it to come back, because we need that as a society. So,
Andra, it's your turn. Talk about the most challenging part of the play for you.
Sure. Yeah, for me, I've been thinking about directing in light of this particular piece, and it feels like you get to be the lucky person who works with so many artists to figure out how the play world works. What it sounds like, what it feels like to be there. And we just worked with such an extraordinary group of people. I feel like directors are detectives, where you're trying to follow the clues, and also you're trying to, pull that magical, you're trying to connect the magic of each person who's part of that creative team with the story. And so that it all comes alive together. So yeah, I think the biggest challenge with this piece was how technical. I mean, there was so much work that wasn't about the rehearsal work. It was so much about the collaboration on the sound design, the projection design, with Austin and Rob Scott, figuring out how you talk to projections that are behind you. And so I felt, this project is so dear to my heart. because I think it pushed us all out of our comfort zone in one way or another. And it taught me more about, I don't know, the 3D world of theater. It always felt so alive to me, but this project became about not only the 3D world of the artists living, breathing, sharing space, but the technology being part of the magic in a different way.
Awesome. All right, Rough Scott, what did you guys find that was so interesting about this story that you thought it would make a great piece of theater?
I just have to say, I grew up with an interest in storytellers. I was really inspired by my grandfather growing up and the stories that he would tell about his life experience. And I always found that to be really inspiring to me as a young kid. And it really opened up my eyes to start looking for storytellers in the world. And I feel that's kind of how I ended up down this path of being an actor, was my need and desire to find human stories. And this particular story, I think, started when I met Dallas, I believe maybe close to 15 years ago. And when I heard about this from Dallas, I thought there's so much potential. Talk about stories and talk about storytelling. And then fast forward to being at the book, the launch. I was the book launch for Nathan's story, and I was just moved by what an incredible storyteller Nathan was. And at that moment, Dallas and I started having this conversation. What could we do? Wouldn't this be exciting as a theater piece? I think at one point we were having a discussion about an original script. We were doing some work with the script, and Cynthia overheard us, and she was a little bit jealous about the project. I didn't know this until later, but she had overheard it and she wanted to be a part of it. So at one point I thought, we need somebody to produce this, and the only place I know of that would really do justice with this production was Salt Lake Acting Company. And I went to Cynthia and I asked if they would consider producing it. And of course, you know, they said yes, but I didn't know that little tidbit. She was actually wanting to be a part of it when she heard us working on the script. So that's kind of my roundabout story to just say I'm a storyteller. I'm interested in story, and I'm interested in bringing storytellers together to bring out the best in them. And really, this is because of Nathan. It's because of this beautiful story that he told. And that's how it came to be.
So Austin, if you could talk a little bit about what an actor's job is, what an actor does.
Absolutely. The simple answer is that an actor's job is to memorize the words in the play and then say them on stage in front of the audience. And that's what an actor does. But the more in-depth answer is actors are kind of responsible for, in tandem with the playwright and in tandem with the director, we get to sort of create the character, what the character sounds like, what the character looks like, how the character is going to be presented in the story to the audience. And in theater, what's so fun is that we're right in front of you the entire time, and you can see our whole bodies. So it needs to be a full body performance. And when Andra and I were working on the characterization for Blue, it's like, okay, in the book, he's a black triangle with a triangle beak. And in the play, I'm wearing like a button-up white shirt with a bow tie. And it's a very different interpretation. We had to take a way to make him a human actor on stage. And then it's like, what is the physicality? How much of a bird am I versus how much of a person am I? My little secret as an actor that I don't think the audience would ever know is that I also had the benefit of having Nathan in the room and having Nathan be at most of our rehearsals. And I feel like my character in many ways is based on Nathan and his mannerisms, and like he has a certain way of smiling, and he's doing it right now. And there's kind of a way that he laughs and a way that he acts when he gets like embarrassed or like shy. And I got to see all of that. And that was my favorite part of the rehearsal process for this show personally, was I got to develop a relationship with Nathan, and we became pretty good buds while we were doing that show. And I was just so happy to be there every day.
Nathan, back to you, my friend. Where is Blue now? Where is that little blackbird named Blue? What's the sequel? Inquiring minds want to know.
He'd cast a different actor to play Blue to start off with.
No, you did great. Blue is probably somewhere right now sitting on his bed on a Zoom meeting, talking to all his friends.
That's perfect. So tell us what you're up to.
I am working with two storytellers right now. So number 19 and number 20. Number 19, her name is Sammy. She's out of Washington, D.C. And we've been doing our workshops through Zoom. But I did collect some images from Washington, D.C., and we're producing her book right now. And then just 2 days ago, her name is Anissa Abbas, and she's out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, and I'm going to start working on hers, and she's the 20th storyteller. So quick math, Nathan was number 1, and I'm working on number 20 next. So super exciting.
Adventures. So I'm just working on a bunch of different film and theater projects. And lately I've been listening, I know it's early, but I've been listening to a lot of Christmas music, including Dolly Parton's new CD, Holly Dolly Christmas, for inspiration, because I think I have a Christmas, I don't know, project up my sleeve. So 'tis the season.
The dream of returning to Red Fred and the Jolly Troop is definitely something that we have loved and hope to do more of.
Yeah, I'll just second that, we're looking to return to the other creative storytellers that have joined the Jolly Troop. I'm also always curious and looking for new storytellers. So maybe it's somebody out there watching right now that maybe you have a story you want to share and tell with us. So let us know. We're always looking.
Right now, I'm trying the biggest thing I've ever tried. I'm trying to get this feature film made, and we're in the process of shooting early footage for it. And it's the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm terrified of it every single day. But we just keep chipping away at it one little piece at a time. And who knows, maybe we'll have a thing in a couple of years or something.
Well, recently I went through a pretty major surgery and lost all the feeling and motion on my left side. But as you can see now, with some pretty intense physical therapy and just moving it more and getting it back and getting better.
Thank you so much.